Good morning again, ladies. I'm so thankful for your time and commitment again today to discuss a few other questions that keep coming in from our parents and students and community members. And so with us today, we have ASUW President Riley Telemontes, ASUW Vice President Courtney Titus, and we really just want to talk a bit about what we're seeing we feel like might need to be addressed are just some COVID responsibilities. And so Courtney and Riley, as we think about how this semester might feel or look differently as you are on campus or maybe off campus, what are some COVID responsibilities or highlights that you think would be helpful for our students to know?
Well, I think some of the largest ones are ones that have already been addressed by the university since the month of June. Make sure you're social distancing whenever you're in even just smaller or larger groups. Make sure that you're wearing your face mask anytime that you are on UW's campus, but also in the Laramie community, right? You're hypothetically, a student who's maybe an in-state student from another town in Wyoming, or maybe an out-of-state student from another state in the nation. And, you coming to Laramie, I think you want to make sure that not just the community that we have on campus is kept well, healthy, and safe, but also the community members too, who kind of live among us around the university. So I think one of my biggest advices would be to use your face mask anytime that you're in a group. Make sure you're social distancing as well. So obviously, college is a really great time to be building relationships with people. I think one of the biggest aspects of that is in order to, build a relationship with someone or be in a study group or, whatever you want to do whenever you're coming back to campus, just make sure that you're following the proper requirements and guidelines that the university has outlined for us. The reason that this, has been put in place is that we want to be able to keep our community members safe. And it really is our responsibility to make sure that everyone around us isn't, contracting this sickness. So I think those are some of my, biggest tips and broad things that I think students should really focus on this semester.
Yeah, and I would just like to emphasize that I think a lot of students really want to be back on campus. When ASUW released our survey in early June, the overwhelming response from all the students was that we really want to be back on campus. And, these guidelines are based in science and research in order to keep us on campus. So I think we all need to be approaching this with, a teamwork mindset and doing everything we possibly can so that we can attend classes on campus for as much as possible and have the most successful spring semester as possible. Maybe this semester won't be everything we hoped it to be, but if we do everything we can now, we can help, ensure that we can have more in-person classes in the spring. And don't get me wrong, wearing a mask can sometimes be a little uncomfy, and these guidelines, people have different opinions about them. Not everybody really likes these new rules and, being told what to do. But I just think it's really important to prioritize caring for each other and protecting our community and protecting our faculty members and your fellow classmates. Because even if, you or your peers may not personally have a fear of getting sick, we really want to make sure that we're protecting our faculty members or more at-risk members of this very small Wyoming community that, receives a huge influx of students every year. And we hear you, we hear the different opinions from students, and we want you to voice those opinions. But I also really encourage you to just protect each other and continue reading science and the data and listening to your faculty members to do what's best for each other.
So what if a student, or maybe you too, because I know that you're a social butterflies and know all kinds of students on campus, what if you were invited to a campus party? What might that look like?
Well, I would hope that if a student was being invited to a campus party, they would kind of stop and think to themselves, I wonder what is this party going to look like? How big are the groups going to be? Are people going to be social distancing? Will there be masks? I think all of these questions need to have a, pretty thorough answer, just in the sense we don't want students to gather in really large groups and not following these requirements off campus, because that's not only dangerous to the group of students that are going to those particular parties, but whenever they go to, let's say, the grocery store at Safeway or Ridley's, they're putting community members who work those jobs constantly at risk. They can go to their labs or see their faculty members and are putting their faculty members at risk. So I truly hope that if there are any of those parties going on, that students really kind of take a hard look to try and understand that while, we do want to be building relationships in college and having fun, this is an unprecedented time in our history where we need to be able to follow some of the health and safety guidelines to make sure that some of our community members stay safe.
And I know that it can be a bit tricky, right? It's annoying and no one wants to wear a mask. And if you're the only one wearing a mask at a party, there may be some weird shame with that, right? And so what would that look like? Or you might find yourself in a space where, you're having an issue with your roommate, for example, that might not want to wear a mask. And those are for students that live on and off campus. What are some options or some suggestions you all might have?
I mean, I would say that, Riley and I have probably had our fair share of, weird roommate situations as students do in college. And, I didn't always know this like in my earlier years of college, but the Dean of Students office actually has welfare coordinators that can help assist you in even just a mediation conversation or just a one-on-one conversation with you to provide tips and tricks. And you're fully in control of that process, like talking to them about your roommate or even submitting a UIL CARES report doesn't automatically get that other person in trouble, because I know that's not always your intention. We don't always want to get people in trouble. But those people can really help support you in that situation when you're trying to do everything that you know you're supposed to do to keep yourself and others safe. And you may be in an unsafe space in your home, and that's not good for you, for your academics, or for your social and mental well-being. So be sure to reach out to the Dean of Students office. You can call the main office number, reach out to any of the welfare coordinators, or submit a UIL CARES report, and just get those resources that can help you navigate this situation in whatever way you think will be most successful. I'll also offer that, you can also reach out to the University Counseling Center if you really just want someone to talk to. They're really great just for bouncing ideas off of, and they're a neutral third party in your life that you can just sort of practice social situations with, and they can really help you navigate that too.
It's kind of tough to be put in those predicaments, and yet we're like social creatures, right? We want to be with others, and so this is a challenge, and I give you both a lot of credit for, making sure that we're being transparent about the reality of the situation, but also balancing the need to be social, and that's a challenge. And so I think as students are starting to put themselves in those particular situations, it might be something to consider. So I'm really thankful for you and for all of the guidance you have provided today. It sounds to me like there's lots of resources that are still available, and if anyone is struggling with either a mask or struggling with conflict or struggling with being, sometimes feeling left out because you are trying to protect yourself, don't stop reaching out for help. We're here to help you and walk through that. And as Riley has mentioned, we're in weird, unprecedented times. And this is something that's new for us. But one way we know that we can get out of it is by encouraging to continue to wear our masks and social distance, wash our hands, and to evaluate every situation we find ourselves in. So I want to thank you both again for this commentary and all of the guidance we have provided on students, and we'll be back in touch. Thank you.